What is up, awesome people of the internet? The expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries is on December the 6th. And before that happens, each team is required to submit their list of 6 protected players today. And I've been doing a series where I'm going over every single team in the WNBA and talking about who they will likely be protecting and why. So we've already done the Indiana Fever, we've done the Chicago Sky, we did the Dallas Wings, the Connecticut Sun, and now it is time to take a look at the Las Vegas Aces. Now, the Las Vegas Aces, they have some key players that you wanna keep, and that's your core. When we think about the Las Vegas Aces, they kind of had the same team for a couple years now. Same team. Now, I am arguing that you largely protect your main core, but there is a little deviation, I would say, and let's get into it. Let's get into it. So number one, you want to protect Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray, the point guard herself. She came back from injury this year, wasn't as impactful as she was in previous years. However, she still is a fantastic floor general. She can get to her spots in terms of shooting. She can whip that basketball and do some crazy passes. You definitely want to keep the head of the snake protected. So that's why Chelsea Gray will be protected by the Las Vegas Aces. Next up, Jackie Young. Jackie Young is one of those players who really has revitalized her career. She was a number 1 draft pick. She was good, but we saw her make a crazy leap a couple years ago with the Aces. Primarily, I would say, due to Tyler Marsh and his working with her in the offseason. She had a pretty good year this past year. 15 points a game, 5.3 assists a game. She played a point guard role quite a bit this season due to Chelsea Gray being out, and it really just showcased that, yes, Jackie Young is a scorer, but also she can pass the ball as well, and she can also facilitate for her team. Now, you definitely want to protect Jackie Young in this instance because, yeah, she's pretty young, 27 years old, still has a lot of basketball left, and could either be a good possible trading chip that the Aces could have, or she can just stay with the team for next season. I do think there's a possibility of a trade, possibly. Not with the Golden State Valkyries, but possibly with the Chicago Sky. Tyler Marsh is down with the Chicago Sky, and as we have seen in the past, sometimes when coaches leave one program and go to another program, there usually is some sort of trades that happen between those two teams. Most recently we saw it with Kurt Miller when he left Connecticut, went to LA. We ended up seeing some movement on that front. So I think it's possibly likely that maybe Jackie Young will end up coming to the Chicago Sky in a trade, but you got to protect her first and then try to work out something else later. Next up, you want to protect A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP. She is in her bag. This year averaged a double-double, 26.9 points a game, 11.9 rebounds a game. A'ja Wilson's A'ja Wilson. Mid-range game is on point. Fadeaway game is on point. She getting that 3-point game working a little bit. Of course, she's dominant in the paint. Definitely want to protect your best player, who is A'ja Wilson. Next up, you should protect Kelsey Plum. I do think that Kelsey Plum will not be on this team next year. I really don't see her being on this team. The Las Vegas Aces have to change up the core in order for them to get back to the championship, because the rest of the WNBA has peep game. They've improved, and the Aces have not. And in order for them to make the next leap back to greatness, I really do think they need to break up the core. And that likely could and should be Kelsey Plum. Now, you still protect Kelsey Plum because there's a possibility of maybe negotiating some sort of trade with the Golden State Valkyries. Maybe you get the number 5 pick and something else in exchange for Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum is not a person that you would just leave out there for them to pick up. No, you want to protect her. You want to protect Kelsey Plum to possibly use her as a trading piece. Next up, you want to protect Kate Martin. And if you're wondering, like, why in the world would you protect Kate Martin? Because Kate Martin, one, is a great culture fit for the Aces. Really, she seems to fit really well. Also, I actually really do think that Kate Martin has a strong future in the WNBA. Yes, she did not get as many playing minutes as she would probably like, especially in that second half of the season once Vegas got healthy. But I see a lot of upsides. She is one of those players that I really do think can be sort of put on the floor and can just make an impact. Um, Also, you know, she is a popular player. She's a popular player with the fans. She has a lot of upsides in terms of her game, and then when you compare her to the other players on the team, I think, yeah, sure. Is she a good? Is she a better player than a Tiffany Hayes? No, but I don't even know if Tiffany Hayes is going to even come back to the WNBA next year. Tiffany, she had already retired from the WNBA. She came back. She enjoyed her time with the Aces, but she's an older player. You don't know how long she's going to stay in the WNBA. And you have Kate Martin, who's a player who can grow in her impact and is very young. So, yeah, in my opinion, yes, you want to protect that. You want to protect that. And finally, the sixth player that the Las Vegas Aces need to protect is Elizabeth Kitley. Now, some of y'all may be like, Elizabeth Kitley, who is that? Well, if y'all saying that, y'all wasn't rocking with college basketball last year. Elizabeth Kitley is the AC. She was the ACC Player of the Year last year. She played for Virginia Tech. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic post player. Could get you a double-double just about every single game. She was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces late in the draft. She would have been an easy first-round draft pick, but she did tear her ACL last college season, and so she wasn't going to be able to play in the 2024 season. So because of that, she wound up getting dropped all the way down to number 24 in the draft, which was a steal because the Aces was basically the only team in the WNBA that was actually in a position where they could draft somebody that they knew was not going to play. And they were drafting her as more of a future type of aspirational kind of idea because you have Kia Stokes. I'm opting not to protect her. You have Kia Stokes, like you have sort of other big men on your team. However, Elizabeth Kitley is a scorer. That's something that we saw the Aces struggle with. There were a lot of times last season where it was like, man, Kia Stokes, please score. I know you got defense for days, but please score. Elizabeth Kitley, you don't have to worry about that with her. She is a player who is able to score. Now, is she as strong as she needs to be to be battling in the post in the WNBA? Time will tell. I think that's something that needs to be developed. So is she like a starter from day one come next year? No, but she is 6'6". She's very young. She's very talented. She has a mid-range game already. I think that could be a really awesome 1-2 combo between Asia and Elizabeth once Liz sort of gets comfortable in the WNBA. But yeah, you definitely want to protect her because she has a high ceiling in my opinion. A lot of people are sleeping on Elizabeth Kitley because she didn't play in this past WNBA season. So y'all probably forgot what she did. But y'all, at Virginia Tech, she was cold. So you definitely want to protect her because if you don't, Golden State is going to pick her up. Okay. So for those are the list of the protected players. So that's Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Kate Martin, and Elizabeth Kitley. The list of unprotected players I have is Kia Stokes. Kia Stokes, defensively, yeah, she's great. But this team needs more on the offensive end, especially from their starting center. So you leave her unprotected. If Golden State wants her, they can have her. Sure, yes, you want Kia Stokes to return back to the Aces next year, but you don't want to protect her more than you want to protect Elizabeth Kitley or Kate Martin, for example. Next up, Kirsten Bell. Kirsten Bell it's just not working. Like, I thought I saw the vision of Kirsten Bell really working out with the Las Vegas Aces. I do think she has a lot of upside. It's just that I don't know. I thought she was about to make a big leap this year, but she didn't. She kind of regressed in a little way. And clearly Becky Hammond originally had some confidence in her and then lost it, and then Kirsten Bell just kind of rode the bench from there. I don't see her getting picked up by the Valkyrie. Yeah, I think ultimately Kirsten Bell needs to move on from the Aces. Like I just think she needs to grow, and I don't think she'll actually have that opportunity for the Aces. I think she'll just kind of ride the bench from here on out. Next up, Alicia Clark. Alicia Clark is a unrestricted free agent. I do think you leave her unprotected because yes, she is a really good player. However, again, when you're comparing her to the core four for the Aces and then the two youngsters that have a very high ceiling, I think you don't protect her. It's a possibility that she winds up getting picked up by the Valkyrie. Like I could see that being a real possibility. And if so, hey, let her go have fun with the Valkyrie. Next up, Sydney Colson. Sydney Colson is another unrestricted free agent. You leave her unprotected. Golden State's not going to pick her up. It's not a big deal. She's likely going to return to the team next year. Queen Egbo is a player who was a late signee to the Las Vegas Aces, and it was a signee that I was like, I don't think it made any sense at all. She is a reserved free agent for 2025. I don't get why she was even picked to go to the Aces. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like she never played once she got signed on. She just kind of rode the bench. It was a waste of, yeah. I don't get it. I didn't understand that at all. The decision to bring her in. Now, Queen Egbo is talented. I just don't think it works with the Las Vegas Aces. Clearly, it doesn't because Becky Hammond was like, "Nah, you sit on the bench." Next up, we got Tiffany Hayes, who I kind of talked about earlier. She's an unrestricted free agent. No idea if she's actually going to play next season or not in the WNBA. She seemed to have a great time in Vegas. Maybe she returns, but even if she does decide to return, I don't think you protect her. You leave her unprotected, and you run the risk of possibly her getting picked up by the Golden State Valkyries. And then you have Megan Gustafson. I like Megan. I just don't. She just didn't play as much, and her like. Megan didn't seem to work out with the Las Vegas Aces. I actually liked her a lot better when she played for the Phoenix Mercury than the role that she played with the Aces. Like she barely played, and when she did, I mean, she could make an impact here and there, but like overall, it didn't seem like she was like a go-to player sort of off the bench, and I think she actually has a lot to offer sort of as a post player who can stretch the floor a little bit. But yeah, so you leave her unprotected. If the Golden State Valkyries want her, they can grab her. So those are my thoughts about the Las Vegas Aces and who I think they will protect and who they won't protect and why. Again, teams have to submit their names of protected and unprotected players today to the league office. Okay. Now, I do think it's possible that either Alicia Clark or Tiffany Hayes might get picked up by the Golden State Valkyries, or we will end up seeing a trade for KP. But if there's going to be a trade for KP, they first have to make sure to protect KP and then use her as a bargaining chip to sort of get some sort of mix of picks or something like that, so the Aces can kind of rebuild for the future. Those are my thoughts there. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank y'all so much for watching, and look out for the rest of the videos in this series as we go through every single team in the WNBA, and I walk through all of the players. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.